TV shows are known for pushing boundaries and using sensitive topics to gain attention. But sometimes these shows can go too far and episodes end up being pulled from the airwaves. I'm your host as always, K-Mac Time, and today I want to take a look at 5 controversial TV episodes that were pulled off of the air. Starting us out is an episode of Pokemon anime, and this wasn't the first or the last time that Pokemon had been pulled from the airwaves. Of course, there was the famous Porygon episode that was pulled off after giving hundreds of kids seizures. There was also an episode that was pulled off for making fun of Misty for having small breasts. But the episode I'm talking about here is called The Legend of Dratini, and it may be the worst of them all. It is pulled due to an insane amount of violence and incredibly weird choices by the creators of the show. The episode features gun violence and hostage taking and just weird stuff like that. It's like such an odd thing for a children's cartoon to feature a hostage being held at gunpoint, especially in something as cute and cuddly as Pokemon. You would never expect to see Team Rocket actually use guns. Why wouldn't they just use Pokemon? Because that's kind of the point of the show and the games, and just use Pokemon. If you have guns in that universe, why don't you just shoot the Pokemon and catch it? I don't know, it was kind of weird, but it gets worse from there. There's actually a character dressed up as Hitler in the episode, believe it or not. Apparently, this is a more common thing in Japan. They're kind of more lenient towards that, apparently, even though that's fucked up. Of course, this type of episode wasn't going to fly in the West. And it didn't make it over to the United States. It was pulled well before it ever made it to the airwaves here in the United States. And I don't think it was ever shown here. I could be wrong. I don't believe it was ever actually shown in the United States. And I believe it was actually pulled from Japanese airwaves as well. And I'm not sure if it's on any of the box sets, but it's definitely not on any of the American box sets. So if you want to watch it, there are dubbed versions online. You can find them. People have found the episode and then dubbed it over in English or subbed it over in English. So it is out there if you just want to look for it, but it is hard to find. Up next is another oddball cartoon moment that really left parents like scratching their heads. Like, what is this children's cartoon trying to teach my children exactly? Like, why are they watching this? Anyway, the popular 90s cartoon Tiny Toon Adventures once ran an episode called One Beer. An already pretty questionable title decision. You're like, what are they going for here? They're talking about alcoholism. They're talking about alcohol dependency. They're talking about the dangers of alcohol. You know, maybe if you're thinking about this might teach a valuable lesson to children about the dangers of alcohol, and it might do it in a subtle way and not be blunt about it. But you would be completely dead wrong. What the episode features is characters drinking beer and then immediately getting behind the wheel of a car and crashing into a cemetery. And it's really weird imagery. Obviously, they die in the car crash, and then we see like their souls or whatever. You know, they have those little ghost wings and the halos on, and they float up to heaven. And from that, the children are supposed to infer that drinking and driving will kill you, which is overall not a bad message. I just think it was a really, really crude and blunt way about getting that message across to children. It was, after that, revealed to be the characters in the show, the cartoons, the characters were not dead. They were actually acting in a play. They were simulating it. They were just teaching kids about the dangers of alcohol. But like I said, a really fucked up way of doing that is to show a car crash where your favorite cartoon characters died. Not the best way to go about that. I mean, there really is no good way of teaching kids about alcoholism in cartoons. I don't believe that's the best way to do that. They tried and they failed miserably. The episode, of course, wasn't long before it was pulled from the airwaves, and it was completely taken out of syndication. I don't believe it's on any of the box sets for that show. I'm not sure. I didn't double check on that, but I'm pretty sure they wouldn't include that episode. But anyway, it's called One Beer, and like I said, very controversial, and was pulled from the airwaves not too long after it launched. Now, South Park has never been shy about making offensive jokes and pushing the audience's buttons. It makes all kinds of racist jokes, anti-Semitism jokes, ginger jokes. You know, that all started from the show, and it's basically known for that. And usually Comedy Central gives Matt and Trey full reins to do what they want without that much censorship. They really push the envelope of how far they can get away with on television. But episode 200 from season 14 finally caused them to step in and pull an episode. And in the episode, it was because of the portrayal of the Prophet Muhammad from Islam. In the episode, I believe they pulled all these major religious leaders like Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad, and they made them into like a justice friend. They call it like the Super Friend, the League of Super Friends, or something like that, I believe. Anyway, they pulled them all in there, and they made jokes about all the religions. It wasn't just they're making fun of Islam, but they were including them in it. And if you don't know anything about that, Islam is very, very sensitive about how their prophet Muhammad is portrayed or talked about. They don't like him being portrayed in any way, shape, or form, which is kind of understandable. But they really put a lot of pressure on Comedy Central to take that episode down or to censor it. Comedy Central was receiving death threats and bomb threats and phone calls and letters for weeks about this. It was very controversial. It was going to be leading up to this. It was leaked this episode was coming out. So the episode originally aired, they actually put a black bar, like a censorship bar, over Muhammad, and I believe that they censored most of the mentioning of his name completely out. They just cut that out and they put a black bar over the animation. And it was only aired like 1, 2, 3 times, I believe, but it eventually was ultimately pulled from the air and never shown on television again. And the only way to watch it fully uncensored is to buy the Blu-ray or box sets that is actually included on that of season 14, I believe. Episode 200 from season 14 is where you can find that on the box sets if you guys are interested in watching that full episode uncensored. Very controversial, and like I said, it was a big deal at the time. There was a lot of things going on back then. There still really are with the whole, thing about threats like that. You have to take them very seriously. So I don't know. It's something you could really get into a lot of. And Comedy Central just went ahead and just took the episode down to prevent anything like that ever happening. Now, another show known for its edginess is Family Guy. Obviously, it likes to push buttons as well, talk about controversial subjects all the time, make racy, sexual, lewd, crude jokes about every episode. And I love the show, and I love this episode that never aired where we're talking about it, but it did have a few episodes that were pulled before this. The most notable one was probably, I believe it was called Wish Upon a Weinstein. I believe it was from like one of the first 3-4 seasons. And I remember because I had the box set, and when I watched the DVD box set, I came across this episode. I'm like, I don't remember this ever being on television. And the reason behind this is because Wish Upon a Weinstein is about a Jewish, I believe it's about a Jewish, a banker or something like that helps Peter out in some way. I don't remember the exact details. But anyway, it ended up stereotyping Jewish people and the Jewish faith, and it poked fun at the religion. And it kind of went a little bit too far. I mean, personally, I thought the episode was funny. I'm not trying to say I'm anti-Semitic or anything like that, but the episode to me was funny, and I didn't think it went that far. But at the time, Fox deemed it too controversial and pulled it from airwaves. I think we aired one time, maybe, but it did make it onto the box set if you guys want to watch that episode. But the episode I'm going to talk about here is called Partial Terms of Endearment. And in this episode, it gets really controversial, especially for the time this came out. 2010 is when this episode was due to come out. It never showed up on the air. But in the episode, Lois runs into her old college roommate, Naomi, of which we find out she had a brief lesbian relationship in college with her. And that's pretty racy, but that's not what kept the episode off the air. What kept the episode off the air is Naomi reveals that her and her husband have been having trouble conceiving a baby. So they ask Lois to be their surrogate mother, and of course Lois agrees. Shortly after Lois, however, becomes pregnant, they find out that Naomi and her husband both died in a car crash. So there's no longer, the biological parents of this baby are no longer alive. And Lois has this internal struggle, and her and Peter have to come up with a reason to either abort this baby or keep this baby. And it turns into this real pro-life or pro-choice argument, which is super controversial. I mean, everyone has their own opinion on this, and I won't get into mine here because I'm trying to keep it, non-political here. But that episode obviously stirred a lot of drama up because they ended up, spoiler, if you've never seen it, they do end up getting the abortion, and a lot of people were upset about this, and a lot of people took up arms about this, and were, before the episode even aired, it was only rumored that the episode was even out or was ever being made. I don't think it was ever even shown, or may have been shown one time. I'm not sure exactly. But anyway, the episode, actually, you know what? I do know. The episode actually never aired on television. It was never featured on any of the box sets. It was left out. I believe it was in season 8 is when this, it was like season 8 but it was never on the DVD or Blu-ray box sets of season 8. It was never shown on television. Instead, they decided to release it as a standalone DVD. And of course, on that DVD box, they boasted that it was too controversial for TV. It was banned from TV, just basically to say this is something raunchy. So raunchy we can't show it to you on television, so buy the DVD. And that's where the episode was released to the public, and it still caught a lot of flack. It's still pretty controversial. Even today, you know, the whole pro-life, pro-choice thing is a pretty big trigger for a lot of people out there. So the episode, like I said, was never shown on the air, obviously, and pretty controversial. And finally, guys, without a doubt, the weirdest and creepiest episode of any show that I've ever seen, ever watched, is an episode of Different Strokes called The Bicycle Man. And this, seriously, this episode is beyond messed up. Something like this would never fly today, would never see the light of day in today's age and world. You keep in mind that this Different Strokes, this episode came out in 1983, a slightly different time. Still, it was even it was controversial then, but now there would have been an uproar. People would have been fired for this type of thing, and understandably so. It's a very, very weird episode, and we're going to get into it why. Now, if you don't know anything about this show, it's a little bit older. It's about a boy named Arnold, a black boy named Arnold, played by Gary Coleman. He's the What's Talking About Willis. This is the show I'm talking about here. But anyway, in this episode, his character Arnold agrees to help out a local neighborhood bike shop. He agrees to help there after school. Then things go off the rails. The bike shop owner starts off by offering the kids, there's two boys that come and help. They're two little black kids. They're like really young, they're like 7, 8 years old. And he offers them like candy and comic books and video games, and they hang out alone and they watch cartoons. And it kind of, you get that little creepy vibe, and it just kind of starts, and then he goes, I believe there's a part where he goes, now don't tell your father about how much we hang out. And I don't want you telling anyone how much stuff I give you or what we do. And you get like this, well, where is this going vibe? And then it just dives off a cliff straight into pedophilia. Super crazy. I mean, before you know it, they have the old man showing the kids naked pictures of himself. Then they're drinking wine. He's getting these like 8-year-old boys drunk off wine and having them take their shirts off and take pictures with him and pose for him. And they're playing these games where they take baths together naked, and they do all this weird fucking shit. It's so crazy. This episode is actually up on YouTube. I can probably show a couple clips of it, but I can't show all of it. I'll get copyrighted for it. But it is up. You guys want to watch the whole thing. It's fucking creepy, like super creepy. And on top of that, the whole time, like when he pulls out the naked pictures of himself and shows them to the boys, they play a laugh track. Like it's like in-studio laugh track. Like, are we supposed to be laughing at these little boys being tortured by a pedophile? Like, this is not fucking funny. This is creepy. And then, like, the whole point of the episode was to get across to parents just how easily this stuff can happen, to be more vigilant. The message about the episode was a good message, but the way they went about it and the way they showed how real this could be really creeped a lot of people out. And understandably, like I said, this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen on television. And I believe the episode, and it wasn't pulled immediately, the episode was allowed to air for almost a decade, maybe, probably more, until eventually, I think in the late 90s, early 90s sometime, it was eventually pulled from reruns and from syndication. I do believe it's on the DVD box sets of that show, so if you don't want to see it there, or like I said, it's on the internet, you can look it up there. But super creepy about pedophile and molestation, and it really goes there, man. Like, he's got hands on these kids, he's giving them naked pictures, he's taking pictures with them, like I said, the whole 9 yards. Super creepy, very edgy and controversial, even for back then. And for, like I said, today, that shit would just not fly. That would not be allowed today. And for good reason. It's pretty creepy. But anyway, guys, that's all I have time for. I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, do me a favor and hit that like button down below. Subscribe as well for more videos like this in your sub box. Make sure to hit that little bell button as well to be getting all the notifications, because YouTube is doing a great job of not sending my videos out to all of my subscribers. So make sure you guys are hitting that bell button to get notifications about every video drops Follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. All those links will be in the description and the end slate. And like I said, there are many, many more controversial episodes I didn't even touch on for shows that go way, way back. So if you guys would like to see part 2 or even possibly part 3 and on of this series, it turns into a series, let me know down in the comments, and also let me know by hitting that like button. If you guys hit that like button and share the video, it'll let me know that it's something you guys are interested in seeing more of. And if you guys do that, then I'll know to make more of these videos. And if not, we'll make something different. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed, like I said. Until next time, remember, it's always K-Mac time somewhere. Until then, guys, take it easy and peace out.